Welcome to the testing world. So that's the third session of the case study 1 in which we are going to generate a test case 3, but it's a debugging test case. Debugging test case means we want the data which is coming from the server, so we want to store the data, and for that we will use some listeners which will store the data which is coming from the server, and because for saving the data it's going to take some extra time which will impact my performance result. So that's a debugging test case. It's not an actual performance test case that we are going to create. So again, the requirements are here. We need to implement with 10 users. All the users are going to hit server in the span of 2 minutes. So first of all, I'm going to my Jmeter and I'm going to create a new thread group over here. And I'm giving the name of the thread group is test case 3 with 10 users, and we know that all the users will apply on the server in the span of 2 minutes, which is equal to 120 seconds. So here we mention like 120 seconds in the ramp up period. So moving to my requirements again, and here again my user will go to the 3 pages, and again the URL can be changed, so we need to keep this in mind as well. So I'm going to add 3 samplers as we have done in the previous 2 test cases as well. So REQ1, REQ2, and one more sampler is REQ3. Okay, so one more thing, like in the previous 2 sessions we have seen we need to keep URL on one place, or I'll say we need to keep the base URL on one place and it could be changed in future. So in the previous 2 sessions we have used HTTP request default, but this time I'm going to use config element, which is user defined variable, and I'm defining my base URL over here. So URL is www.thetestingworld.com, and on the request one I want to use that URL, so that's the way to pick any variable, and I'm picking the value of the variable and using over here. So dollar curly braces and the name of the URL. Now in the second request, my URL is, so I'm going to my Sopia URL is base URL, which is this, and then a relative URL. So what I'm doing here, my base URL is this, and then my relative URL, and going to the request third, adding again, my third page was Unix and Linux for testers. So again, that's the relative URL. So base URL is same like dollar URL, and rest of the URL I have placed over here. So as of now, I have implemented only 2 or 3 points. I'm just adding one listener to check everything is working fine till the point. So running it, and let's see result that we are going to get. So request 1 is hit successfully, and we are getting request and response. So everything is done. Request 2, and here we can check that is coming from a variable rest we have defined in our URL section. And here we can see we applied 10 users, so 10 users are hitting these requests. So as of now we can see still it's executing. Once the execution will be done, Then we will move to implement REST requirements. So if you want to stop in between, we have this stop button, we can stop it. And I want to clear the previous result. One more important thing I want to tell you, like when we run over here, it's going to run all the test cases, but now I don't want to execute the first and second test case. So I right click on that and just disable them. So in this session, I don't want to execute test case 1 and 2. I just want to execute test case 3. Okay, moving to my requirements. So all the 10 users we have applied, hitting the server in the span of 2 minutes, that is done. 3 pages again done. User are hitting pages in same time, that we need to add the synchronization timer. URL could be changed, that we have added. Store all the data which is coming from the server for the future reference. So first of all, I'm adding synchronizing timer because I want all the users will hit request 2 and request 3 in same time. So I'm adding a timer which is synchronizing timer, and I am setting 10 users. So when 10 users will come on this timer, only after that it will allow users to hit request 2. And the same way we are adding synchronization timer over here as well. So 10 user I have applied. And next requirement was that I want to save the data which is coming from the server for the future reference, because we are going to create this test case as a debugging test case. So I'm adding a listener which is simple data writer. So here I'm giving, like, I want to store in the result.csv file and configure. So I want to store all these items in my output file. So we have checked all the checkboxes which data we want to store into the CSV file. That is done. Again, one more requirement has been done. We want to check that in result we should not get error or warning. I'm going to add assertion, and in assertion one is response assertion. So in response I'm checking we should not contain error, and also it should not contain warning. Moving to requirement doc and generate tabular report with graph. So I'm going to add listener which is aggregate graph. Everything is done, clearing result, running it again. So here we can check in 120 seconds we want 10 users to go on the application. So in every 12 seconds these users will come on the application. So here is the tabular format result. And if you want to generate graph, so here we have a button. Click on display graph and it generates graph as well. If you want to do setting on the graph level, we have a lot of options over here. Here we have implemented test case 3. It's a debugging case, and as we use simple data writer, so results should be saved. I am moving to the directory, and here we are checking saved results. So that is the result.csv file. We opened that and all the results which are coming from the server stored over, saved over here. Moving to my requirements. So now at the end, I want to generate one report for all the test cases. So few things that we need to understand, like when we are running it, so it's running all the test cases in parallel. As of now, we have disabled 2 test cases. I'm enabling that again. And now I want to execute all the test cases and generate one report for them. So for that, I am adding a listener So it's on a test plan level, so it's going to cover all the test cases. And if we run it, so as of now, it's going to execute all the test cases in parallel. So if you want to execute in sequence, like first test case 1, then test case 2, and then test case 3, for that we are going to use this run thread group consecutively, means one thread group at a time. Check on, and now we need to view this result. So I'm running my test plan again. So all the test cases will run in sequence. So as of now on the test case 1, we have 5 users. Here you can see first the test case 1 is running with the 5 users. Here we can see result for the first 5 users, and once it is done, then it will move to the next 10 users. Now the total users on my test plan are 15, and here we have set in every 6 seconds a user is going to hit a request, send a request on the server. So in every 6 seconds my user is going to increase, and we can view result over here like request 1, because we have request 1 in both test case 1 and test case 2. So request 1 they are hitting, then request 2, and then request 3. And after that it's going to execute test case 3, and a single report is going to be generated for all the test cases, because this time we have added this listener on the test plan level. Now once test case 2 is done, then next 10 users are coming to the application. Now total users are 25, and the next 10 users are coming. So means test case 3 is running, but this time in every 12 seconds, one user is coming to the application. So it's going to take some time. So because in every 12 seconds it's going to add one user to the application, I'm going to pause in between. All the users ran successfully. So by this way we have implemented our test case 3, and that was the last test case of our case study 1. So that's all we have in this session. Thanks for watching this video.